We're back! Hey guys! It's yours truly, Musicalus here.
Hey, subscribers! It's Ethan here.
And, we're finally back! About time, eh, bud? But
Yep.
Did you miss us all? Yeah, I know it's been like technically 2.5 months since me and Ethan last did a full-fledged YouTube video and stuff. But here we are, once again, with another video for you guys. Our first one coming back, actually. So, this one is going to be both a month update, Blake update, talking about the last couple things that we've done, but it's going to be a little different. So, this first part will have some of the stuff that me and Ethan plan to do for the channel in May, May and at least June. Then, me and Ethan are going to wait at least another. This video is being recorded the week before we return. So it's all. It is, I believe, the 25th today. 24th. Okay, so it's the 24th today. So this has been recorded a week in advance. But by the time we record our part 2, which will include Ethan's opinion on the Demon Slayer movie, we will be back and we will be talking about some other stuff coming on during the summer. But for the time being, me and Ethan are only going to be talking about our plans for June and maybe July, depending on how things go. But as for May, we have a couple plans to talk about. But either way, first things first, we got a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about for our last Blake update, date 8 hours before we get to even that. So, like always, me and Ethan have been doing a lot over the last couple weeks for Blake to get ready. I've been recording like crazy, guys. You don't know how many videos I probably have scheduled on the channel.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell them how you're going to be doing your part of the update, bud?
Well, for my part of the update, so right now, of course, I'm still working on the few. Of course, I've been still working on the few projects that are going to be coming soon to this channel, of course.
And Ethan's also got a big opinion that he's finally ready to talk about, and that would just happen to be, I don't know, a certain RPG series that Ethan's been being for the last 3.5 months.
Just to be 3.5 months exact. Yes.
And that would be XenoSaga.
XenoSaga,
pardon. But XenoSaga. As you guys know, Ethan has already. Last time we checked in, Ethan had finished up the second part and had began on the third part.
Yeah.
But good news! Literally a week before we got together again, Ethan finished the third part of the game.
I did.
And before we get to anything else, Ethan's going to talk about his opinion about all 3 games. We'll go over the first 2 again real brief, the pros and the cons of them, before we go all out on describing the third game. And then Ethan and I will give you a recommendation on whether you should dive into Xenoblade or XenoSaga, depending on your preference.
Yes. So, anyway, for the first 2, I'll mention the first game, of course. The first game I remember is that, let's say, the story, well made, character developments, again, well made, in my personal opinion, and the combat, well made, and it's just like one of the classic Final Fantasy games, of course, a lot of people should know, of course, and, of course, yeah, so I would say that this first part was just splendid, memorable, that's for sure.
The second part, unfortunately, suffers from what I call the sequel curse. Basically, when I say that, it means that, unfortunately, it wasn't able to live up to its predecessor. This sadly happens in both movies and video games quite a bit often. Movies sometimes have it a lot worse, though, of course, but that's not to say video games didn't suffer from this either.
No.
So, unfortunately, this one does suffer from the sequel curse, but just barely misses out for me in a completely bad sequel. sequel. So, Ethan, why don't you tell them the pros at least before we talk about the cons?
Okay, so the pros was something to do with at least the story isn't half bad, and so I would say that when it began, the story was pretty good start, you can say.
The ending, though, was trash. From what I heard, was not good for me. Ethan.
I would say it's okay.
Yeesh. Any other pros?
Well, I try to remember the rest of the pros, but other than that, I don't know. I remember that I do.
All right, and here are the cons.
Oh, I got a bunch of them, unfortunately. Let's just say that I remember there was a gameplay in the combat system. Pretty trash. It just feels like it's like a copy paste from the first game, but not done as well though.
Not cool. And another one for Ethan was the voice acting. Though that can't really be helped. Video games have voice actors that get replaced all the time. Unfortunately, though, Ethan, no offense to the voice actors who did the voices, he means no offense, but he personally felt like the cast didn't really do a good job.
Unfortunate.
That might not be any fault of their own. It could be the script, but Ethan just felt like the voices themselves were just
a bit off.
A bit off. He eventually got used to it, though.
Of course.
But yeah. Let me see. Was there anything else?
Okay, so what I remember is we didn't talk about the final bosses, of course. The first boss in the first game, pretty decent, and it's really tough. And it took me 6 tries to beat him. That's how hard he is. And then the second game feels like you're being a magic card. Now the boss should have been the final boss before the final boss. No offense.
Yeah.
Because that was a bit harder than that one.
Bandai Namco, I'm ashamed of you. Tales of Arisa's final boss better be hard, because after playing some of your games recently, they haven't been really all that hard, I'm gonna be honest. So, yeah, step up your game. But anyways, so yeah, that's the second episode. Pretty much a mixed bag all around in Ethan's opinion.
Yes.
Just barely misses out from what I call the sequel, because just barely. Some games in the PlayStation 2 era, Xbox and GameCube era specifically had suffered probably a lot worse than XenoSaga, so thank goodness XenoSaga didn't do too worse.
Right.
Now the third game. Alright, we're going to go over these things for the third game. The story, the gameplay, and the character development and design, as well as the voices.
Also the music, too, don't forget.
And the music.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, but go right ahead and let's start with that story.
Okay, so the story, though, let's just say how they took it from the first 2 games. Great twist, by the way. There's a lot of good twists in that one than there was in the last 2 episodes. So the story really does put up a twist. It will shock you all when you play those first 2 games, of course.
Indeed.
That's come from me, of course.
Right. And the gameplay.
Oh. Way step up from the second game, of course. Well, first game too, but I say they did a great step up from the first 2 games.
That's great. Character development and design, as well as voice acting.
Character development's doing much better. Doing good. Still doing fine, of course. And the voice acting, I think I heard some of the original voices, and some are the same voice actors. Still fine.
And the design of the characters?
Looking pretty good.
I see. Alright, let me see. Music?
Ooh. Okay, guys. Alright, so there's one soundtrack in that game. Might sound familiar.
At least a little bit. But I'm gonna play right now a clip from the game soundtrack with the music, and you guys are gonna listen to it. So we'll see you in about probably about 5 to 15 seconds as we play this, and then we will come back, and we'll talk about it.
Yep. Well, what'd you think?
That was one of the soundtracks from the game that Ethan really likes. Now I will play you a soundtrack from XenoSega Chronicles. That should sound very familiar to a lot of you who have played the game. Probably should have said this before that first one, but spoiler warning for both. All right, here we go. And there you guys go. So, can you see what Ethan likes?
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you this, guys. That soundtrack I used to be a fan of. After I've heard like a couple times, I started liking more.
Indeed. Now, let me see. Was there anything else we need to? Oh, the final boss.
I'll just be honest with myself. He's pretty hard. Because I thought I cannot beat him. I thought like the first time I tried to beat him, I thought I couldn't beat him because he's so tough. But it turns out I beat him within 2 to 3 tries.
That's saying something, and Ethan isn't used to these PlayStation 2 era-ish games, so that says a lot to beat in 1 or 2 tries. As you know, as he just said earlier, it took him 6 tries to beat the first boss.
Yes.
The first final boss of the first episode. So, yeah. All right. Now here's the big moment you're waiting for. What do you rate this game, buddy? Game series, buddy. What do you rate it?
Well, if we're talking about XenoSaga Episode 3, I'll do it as a whole next one. So, for Episode 3, great step up from the first 2 games. And it's actually 9 out of 10. Because of the gameplay and the story as a whole.
Nice. Alright, and finally, the whole rating of the series.
7.5 out of 10 for this one. Where for the second episode, I would have rated a little bit higher, but...
Unfortunately, that's not the case. Ace. It's like I said, a trilogy has to be held up by all 3 of its, movies or games. Games in this case. In the case, unfortunately, of this series, it suffers from the second game, which unfortunately can be said about a lot of series that they usually suffer from the second game or movie and a trilogy. Sometimes they do better, sometimes they do worse. In the case of XenoSaga, it just barely does what, barely hits the middle at least, but unfortunately, it's still pretty worse.
Yes.
But Ethan did still enjoy all 3 games thoroughly, and probably would find something memorable about them. Of course, unless we ever do a walkthrough for the channel, which, by the way, guys, if you want to see Ethan do a walkthrough, let us know in the comments below, and I will talk to Ethan about that.
Yes, so anyway, if those of you are wondering, do I like it more than Xenoblade? Well, I'll have to throw it in there somehow. So, tell you the truth, well, I'll just be honest with myself, but I kind of find the story much better than the Xenoblade series, because I'll just be honest with myself, of course. Let's say, for these 3 Xenoblade games, the first one was like the memorable one, I know. X kind of messed up with the story-wise, and the gameplay was really good. And the second game, there's just some things in that game that's just messed up.
Indeed. But one thing in specific that me and Ethan just really don't like about it. There's other flaws too, but this one just makes it makes XenoSaga Chronicles 2, in my and Ethan's personal opinion, a bit unplayable if you don't like grinding.
Yes.
we'll get to that maybe another day. But for the time being, honestly, if we were being honest, Ethan prefers XenoSaga. That's not to say he hates Xenoblade series now, of course.
No, I don't.
It's just that preference-wise, Ethan prefers it.
That's because I do like the most the character developments that I do with the Xenoblade characters.
No offense to the characters either. Does Shulk is still Ethan's favorite out of the Xenoblade series at least. And Ethan doesn't hate that. In fact, that's why he's so happy that Power and Mythra and Smash.
I like them both, honestly.
So if that were the case, then Ethan would have been a little bit upset that Cosmos didn't make it in. Although we are still surprised she didn't get a costume, but oh wow. But to say the least, Ethan just prefers XenoSaga. Now that's not to say that that's not to say that you shouldn't play XenoSaga. In fact, we were just Xenoblade. In fact, we were just about to go over that next. Which series should you dive into between the two, XenoSaga or Xenoblade?
Well, my guess is, if those of you are like mostly a strategy or turn-based people, just like my friends, cough cough, then go to XenoSaga.
Indeed. If you are so used to modern-day RPGs that you're not ready to tackle an old-school game like XenoSaga, trust me, there's some pretty frustrating parts of the game. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Then we would recommend XenoBlade. Because out of the three, you can find them a little bit easier, as all three are available on Nintendo Switch. Yeah, the Xenoblade Chronicles X is on the Wii U, but that Wii U eShop is still up, so touche. But as for the other two, they're available on the Switch. The reason why we're not recommending XenoSaga completely is because there's one thing that's holding you from purchasing all three games. Why don't you tell them, bud?
Let's just say XenoSaga Episode 3 is the rarest of all the three.
Unfortunately. You can find 1 and 2 for pretty cheap, surprisingly. I'm really surprised about 1, though, mostly.
Yeah, let's say, though, that those two are actually the easiest to find.
Finding the third episode in English, especially in English, not that hard. In fact, even have to pay, I'm not going to...
not that easy.
Yes, not that easy, pardon. But even have to pay, I won't disclose the full amount, but over $100 just to get his hands on episode 3.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, if that's gonna deter you and you're on a budget, which given the current circumstances in the economy, I can't fault you, then we would recommend XenoBlade first, because you can find discounts for pretty much all 3 games someplace.
Or hope for the HD remaster, but there's an issue with that.
Indeed. So let's just say this: XenoSaga is a great series, but only if you're willing to fork over the money for the third episode. If you're willing to wait until very slim chance of happening, but a hopeful port, or even better, a remaster. But let's be honest, Nico's probably not interested in that.
Yeah, because of the finance.
Yeah. And the interest, unfortunately. So, yeah. But, I will say that XenoSaga, if you can afford it, from what Ethan's told me, it sounds like a worthy investment.
Yes. Of course, though, that what's even more strange is, again, though, I'll remind myself, I used to be a 100% Shulk fanboy, but it turns out one character actually changed my mind.
Cosmos.
Yup.
And Ethan says I have a lot of wifey foos.
Well, Cosmos is a cyberbot, not an actual human.
You think that stopped the internet? I'm kidding.
well, you're thinking that it's a wifey food. No. I like her as a character.
Sure you do. You said the same thing about Kasumi. I'm kidding.
Well, let's just say that's actually off the. I don't know. Let's just say that argument just doesn't count on me, okay? It doesn't count.
All right, fair enough. Anyways, so yeah, that's Ethan's full opinion on XenoSaga. Man, I can't believe you beat it within 3 months, bud.
Well, close to be 3 months exact.
Now, you're probably wondering, why haven't you guys tackled Gears 1 month before Ratchet and Clank? I think that's a bad idea.
I'm interested in playing Xenogears, of course.
But, would even really have time?
The only issue is, I would have to either just play and hear, or just get a copy. That way I could get my own process later.
Indeed. But the issue is, Ethan's always spent a lot of money these last 3 months, too.
Of course.
And Xenogears, from what we've seen, runs up pretty high.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ethan will possibly get it later, maybe just to play, but with it being 1 month before Ratchet and Clank, I don't think Ethan wants to commit to an RPG this soon.
No.
Especially considering we don't know how long even Xenogears is.
Well, it might be longer for what I can tell.
Indeed. So, Ethan will definitely play it later. Expect an opinion on that in the near future. But for the time being, please be patient with us.
Because that actually concludes the whole XenoSega series.
Indeed. Alright, well that's it for Ethan's big opinion on Xenogears.
XenoSaga,
pardon. So, I guess we should probably get to the rest of the games that we've been playing. So, Ethan, why don't you go first with all the other games that you played?
Okay, so...
That we both didn't play together.
You mean, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna do. So, the first game I had here is... Before I actually give it to a certain friend, as I mentioned earlier, Prince of Persia: Sands of the Time. After I played a bit of it from the originals, pretty good. I'm interested to play more later.
Same here. I have a copy of that somewhere around here. Here, I just gotta find it.
Yes, so Prince of Persia was in the list. XenoSaga Episode 3, that's already talked about. Ultra Fire 4, well, I'll be honest, even if it doesn't have, like you unlock characters and all that, still interesting for arcade-wise, for fun. And then Soul Calibur 3, of course. And then Dead or Alive 1 to 3. Mega Assault, obviously I played the one of the original Xbox exclusive games. Another one is Crimson Skies. Now that reminds me of one of the flying simulation games I used to play when I was younger, of course. But I played. And then I played Godzilla Save the Earth, of course. And then lastly, ATV Ultra Fury 2.
Which Ethan said is way better than the first game in a way.
Well, in a way. I'm not saying all the way.
Yeah. As for 2, 3, and 4, Ethan hasn't played those yet. He wants to get hands-on with the second game first, before he tackles the 3rd and 4th, which, at least by gameplay impressions from what we've watched so far, I'm not looking forward to tackling those.
Nope, either.
But yeah. Alright, buddy, how about the anime shows and movies that you've watched?
Okay, so...
Outside Mortal Kombat, of course.
Yeah, and also, you know what, a movie. And then this one right here I have is Godzilla King of Monsters. That's with a friend of mine, of course. And then I finished up watching recent episodes, My Hero Academia Season 5, after I beat XenoSaga.
And as you guys know, Ethan is our local Deku fan, and especially considering his logo.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, what is your opinion so far on Season 5, bud?
Doing good so far.
Oh, I see. How's a little green-haired hero?
Oh, he's got something that'll surprise you all, though.
Huh? He does?
Well, like I say though.
I guess I'll have to watch to find out.
He didn't show anything like that yet, but he's got something like mysterious that would shock you all I think those of you who probably watched the season 5 trailer, you might see that someplace. Now that could conclude to his other power he has.
I wonder what it could be. I guess.
Oh, me too. I wonder too, because it does take that from mangas. Just keep that in mind.
Indeed.
Takes that from mangas. So those of you who are manga readers, don't spoil it.
Yeah, don't spoil it, manga readers. I'm looking at you.
Because, think about it. Manga readers usually know what's going to be going on until the anime comes out.
Mm-hmm.
No offense. Indeed. Because this is why I'm not usually a manga fan, of course.
Indeed. But, yeah, if you manga fans know what we're talking about, no spoilers here on the channel, or I'll have to delete your comment. Out of caution.
Yes, because usually mangas can actually determine till the anime comes out.
Indeed. But so far, Ethan's enjoyed season 5, so you got your local opinion from a local Deku fan.
And not only that, one more thing. Interesting character has actually more improved from the previous seasons.
Mm-hmm. You're not telling us who, aren't you?
Can't say who. I'm not. And one more thing. It's not Deku.
Now that's interesting. Is he a new character that recently joined, or is it one of the characters from the start of the series?
Let's say he's one of the characters actually was in the beginning of the seasons and just came back again, but stronger.
I don't know my Hero Academia all that well, so I wouldn't know who. But whoever it is, this is going to be interesting to watch.
And let's just be honest here. I used to be not a fan of that character. After I noticed with his improvements, started liking him more.
That's a compliment from Ethan. So yeah, there we go. Oh, there's your opinion about the current season of My Hero Academia from Ethan. You'll probably hear that from him later down the road to see how the season goes. But so far, so good, in his opinion.
Yes.
All right. Now, before we move on to me, Ethan's got one more thing to say about something that happened on Twitter earlier.
2 of them, as a fact. So the first one of the XenoSega Games, which is the popular company on Twitter, and guess what? They comment. They say, "What's your favorite Spyro game?" on April 13th, 2021, of course. And I replied to it. Oh, hang on. Something messed up. Okay, so says I said Spyro 1, my good old childhood. And then put an emoji smile. And so I put a Spyro 1's picture right here. As you can see. I don't know. Yeah, you see that it's in place. So, and then after that, the XenoSega Games themselves liked my comment. I was like, whoa!
No, that's the first time Ethan's really gotten a like from some of the popular companies. As you guys know, I'm no stranger to that. I've gotten likes and comments before if you've seen my Twitter account, but Ethan's on the more lower side than I am.
Yes.
So it's not that often he gets to interact with big companies. But that's cool that his child company favorited his tweet, but that's not the only one.
Yep. Not only that, it said, show us some of your favorite characters' appearances. Of course, you got the grief from the Ratchet & Clank from the part, but I replied, this guy, which it's Sweet Tooth, of course. And then after that, guess what they replied? Light 'em up, boys! And I'll tell you something, they liked my comment and actually replied.
Ethan was ecstatic about that.
I'll be honest with you guys. Man, that came out of nowhere for me, man.
Hey, I don't blame you. Congratulations on your first 2 company likes and reply.
I just can't believe it. Usually it's kind of rare for for certain companies like this do that. I mean, they do that with other people, I notice.
Indeed. And it does happen often, although it doesn't happen with a lot of companies. Nintendo, cough.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I felt that way.
So, yeah. But I'm so happy for Ethan. Hopefully, I think Ethan's getting a little bit more popular, eh, bud?
That's what I was saying myself. But I'll tell you this, though, guys. Thank you so much for doing that. And, of course, though, thank you so much. And I'll be looking forward to your next game, Ratchet & Clank game. So, I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, if you're watching this in Maniaics. All right. Right. So, now let's get to my side. I've actually been playing boatloads. I'm not going to tell you too much, but I'll mention a few. So, as you guys know, I've been recording some Super Smash Brothers, and there will be some gameplay going live for that, including some on a couple of amiibos that Ethan's let me train, including his Brethren amiibo.
Yup, and it's going to be a male, of course, in the game, but I bet you Musicals does with his other one. He has his own, probably a female.
Correct. So you will see some battles against those. Okay. So Soul Calibur 3. So, now that me and Ethan have played all the mainline Soul Calibur games, minus Soul Edge, we still have to play that.
Mm-hmm.
I figured it would be nice to go over the opinions real quick on all the Soul Calibur games and what we think of them.
Yep.
So, first game. So good. I love it. Love it. The music's fantastic. The gameplay is awesome. Of course, it's the first game in the series, so it doesn't look the best. But I give it a slide because all fighting games back then didn't necessarily set a standard in graphics.
Yeah.
So it's still pretty decent for what it's worth. So yeah. The second game.
Well, from my own opinion, just my own opinion. What's better of the three versions is the GameCube version.
Yeah.
Other than that.
Yeah. And don't get even started with the PlayStation version. Well, he has no problem with the game itself. It's just a certain guest character.
Yeah, that should have been not in the game, my opinion.
We'll get to that at another time.
Before you guys debate me.
But that aside, it definitely set the standard going forward. Definitely a great game to check out. Soul Calibur 3? Alright. You got my Discord password right? It does have the most content.
And plus, it has a better content, I noticed.
Indeed. So, you guys were right. But in terms of the gameplay, I still say 6 is better. No.
Or 4.
Or 4. Speaking of 4, Soul Calibur 4.
Oh, great roster, of course.
Gameplay, and very hard arcade mode with Star Killer.
Yep.
Why don't you explain who Star Killer is in case those who don't know the Star Wars lore?
Let's just say he's actually the original character of Force Unleashed from Star Wars.
Indeed.
He's got 2 games, though.
Yes. Force Unleashed and Force Unleashed 2, if I'm correct?
Yes.
I knew it. So, yeah. I might be recording some gameplay for on the channel later. So, look forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Soul Calibur 5.
Garbage. I would have to say, this will be like in last place.
For my and Ethan's opinion, yes. The story is absolutely trash. Gameplay's still solid, don't get me wrong. But the story is absolute garbage. Drags down the whole game, really.
Yep. Well, for me, arcade mode, okay, it's a good arcade mode, but still trash.
Yeah, so, sorry, Soul Calibur 5.
I'm not gonna, just replay again because it's not that good. Even the guest characters were okay. There was Assassin's Creed character and a Tekken character, but other than that.
Yeah. No, thank you. Alright. The next game, which is the recent one and the most biggest one that we think, Soul Calibur 6.
So far, so good.
It's such a good game. The story is okay.
For the main story-wise.
I'm still trying to beat the character Avatar story, so I'll get to that opinion at a later date. But so far, so good, in my opinion. I think it might be better than the main story, in my personal opinion. But at least the okay story in this one doesn't drag down the whole story, unlike the original Soul Calibur 5.
It doesn't, yeah. No, it doesn't, because certain characters, like the newer characters, were great improvements.
Indeed. And of course, there's some great guest characters too.
Yeah, they were great guest characters.
Like we have Gallet from The Witcher.
Yup, and another one is, well, actually, two more. One, 2B from Nier Automata.
And last one, I forgot his name, but he's from... What?
Starts with H. I can't pronounce his name. He's from Samurai Showdown.
Yes. And I mean the whole series. He wasn't a new character for the reboot version. He's been in the series since the start, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty cool. Oh, and by the way, for those who don't know, he is actually in English for once.
Oh, yeah.
For those who don't know, the original Samurai Showdown, including the reboot, are all in Japanese.
Indeed.
So this is the first time an Samurai Showdown character, at least to my knowledge, has been English dubbed.
Yup.
So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Other than that, though, it still is a very fantastic game. A little lacking on the content, but I'm going to give that a slide for once.
Yeah, me too. And plus, it's actually like the best of all the good Soul Calibur games. I wouldn't say all the best, but
it is one of them at least.
Yes. I mean, sure, it's just like a revival from the previous series. Hopefully, this is gonna still keep going until the newer game.
Indeed. All right. The next thing we have to talk about is the Dead or Alive series. We just finished playing all three games for the originals. So now me and Ethan can talk about our quick opinions about the whole Dead or Alive series. So, Dead or Alive 1...
Don't like it. I'm sorry, but the gameplay doesn't age well.
No, that one in particular doesn't age well. Granted, we played the Ultimate Edition. I don't know about the other versions, but in my personal opinion, at least from what I played, I don't think I want to play any other version of 1.
I think I'm good.
Dead or Alive 2?
More improvements.
Definitely better than the first one. And the story is interesting.
Yeah, and also they got the nice, familiar song in there, too.
Indeed. Now, I will say 3 and 4 are pretty much the same because they did some copying and pasting from both of those games, from 2.
No kidding.
Come on, Kumio Tecmo. Don't be lazy. That aside, though, the story in the 2, from what I played, they're both still pretty interesting.
Of course.
Now, as for Dead or Alive 5...
Oh, I'm loving it. That's actually the first game I got into this series.
I played that one too. I love it to death. It's best Dead or Alive to date.
Yup, still is to me.
And now Dead or Alive 6.
Some have some flaws, unfortunately.
It does. But I'm not gonna knock it. We haven't played the story yet either, so I think it's still pretty decent though despite that.
Yeah, so it has some flaws.
But it's still pretty good. So, in our opinion, the worst one is actually the first one. The rest, fine. So, yeah, I really like the Dead or Alive series. Definitely looking forward to the next installment. When we get it, that is.
Well, I've got me to get the 6th game myself still.
Indeed. And play all the way through the story for that one, too.
Because I do like that series myself.
Personally, me too. And no, it's not for what you think it is, guys.
It's not about the wifey foos. Yeesh.
Even though Ethan does like Kasumi.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's beside the point. Me and Ethan actually want to know more about the lore of the series.
Yup. And of course you guys are like, hey, you want to get the spin-off games?
Don't count on that for the time being.
I ain't played one. I will not lie. I played one.
But personally, I'm not in a rush.
I'll be embarrassed as heck if they find out.
Yeah. Let's just say the spin-offs are interesting for the series, okay?
Well, okay, but there's the thing, though. Don't argue with me about this on fan service. Don't say fan service.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at this. They're interesting installments.
Fan service.
Ethan's not laughing at you. You who do like it, by the way.
No. I'm laughing historically about it.
Yeah, Ethan's not laughing at the people who like the game. That's only good if you like them for certain reasons.
I'm just laughing historically about it. Well, with me, of course.
But yeah. All right. So that's it. Other than that, I played Clap Hands Golf. So anybody who's been following Sony recently knows the current direction the company is currently going with its games. But I'm gonna save the argument for another time. Clap Hands Golf, the same people who was behind the Everyone's Golf / whatchamacallit? Hot Shot Golf series. They made this game. I hate to say this, but it's not better than the originals. Totally trash. Not worth playing on Apple Arcade at all. And I forbid this comes to console.
Ouch.
But yeah. Sonic Generations, of course. Cut the Rope Remastered, which is a remastered version of Cut the Rope and some levels from each of the games. Love it. Such a good remaster. Oh my gosh. It looks so fantastic. I love the game so much. And Bejeweled Flea. Such a good game.
Oh yeah.
And now, obviously, I've been watching Blue's Clues and you guys know this. But another thing I watched outside of Mortal Kombat, which we will get to in a minute, is Godzilla 2014.
He was curious about see how that one goes, even if I already saw it myself. So, all right, tell me your opinion, and I'll get to mine right along with
yours. How can you call this a movie? It doesn't feel like it.
To me, though, let's just say I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to tie to the first ever Godzilla movie, but to the people who's a vets of the series would like it. For me, nope, not for me. I mean, I'm sort of like a vet to the Godzilla series, but not to the vets of the movies because I grew up with the games that I grew up with the movies.
Indeed. So he can't really count himself a movie vet, really.
So I would definitely say Godzilla vets, but not Godzilla movie vets.
Indeed. I will say, no thank you. I'll pass.
Oh, I gotta still see the first ever Godzilla movie, though.
Well, thankfully that's on HBO Max, so you don't have any excuse to not watch it.
True point, but I'll say this much for the first ever Godzilla movie. Unbelievable. That's all I ever can put it.
Yeah, Godzilla 2014. Watch King of Monsters instead. You're better off. Unless you're curious, then okay, but don't say I warned you.
Yeah, for the story-wise, maybe it does maybe attach to the next one after that, but fights, if you're asking, not as great.
Nope.
Well, to my own opinion, of course.
I would probably agree with Ethan on his opinion. The fights just felt, meh.
Yeah, like I said, until King of Monsters, great action. Better than this one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, personal opinion. Apparently some people like this movie.
Yes. That's because, you know why? Vets of the Godzilla people.
If you guys like it, fine. Me and Ethan will back off. But, I can't like this trash movie. I'm sorry.
I bet you that's because they're vets of the Godzilla series.
Or maybe newbies. Maybe one of both. Both, really, because you never know. But either way, we'll respect your opinion, though. We just don't think it's the best.
I don't think it's the best myself in the beginning.
And even have to watch it before me. And I'll have to watch it with a friend again.
I might have to watch it with my friend again. I'm getting ready to get more and entertain again.
we can't catch a break, can we?
No, we can't.
Oh, well. Well, now it's time to finally talk about the big moment you've been waiting for. Our opinion on the Mortal Kombat reboot.
And it will be 2021 version, by the way.
So me and Ethan just finished watching it this morning.
Yeah, we watched it last night and then today.
So, our opinion. We'll go over once again the story, the action, the music, and the character development.
Right.
The story.
Has some mess ups.
I'm gonna be honest, it's not the best I've seen, but I'll give it a small slide considering this is a reboot. So I just hope that the second or third movie that they have planned will be better.
Or they actually can make up from the first one for the plot wise.
Indeed. Let me see. The action.
Oh, still good, man. I enjoyed it myself.
I really enjoyed the action in this movie. It was fantastic.
Especially a certain few characters. I can't say a lot. And I can say this one. Sonya Blade is actually one of the interesting characters in the movie.
Indeed. In my personal opinion, the action was dead on.
Oh, great. It's great.
The music.
Yeah. Except for the one final soundtrack is good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's good.
It is good. Now as for the rest, unfortunately the rest of the soundtrack's just
feels like you're watching another superhero movie.
Personally, yeah. And finally the character development.
The character designs in the movies, spot on. I don't mind most of them.
Me neither. But for our main protagonist, who I will not spoil,
and thankfully, it doesn't tie it from the video game, so you're okay. Well, I'm talking about certain games ending.
Yeah.
To keep the heads up.
But in my personal opinion,
he's okay.
He's okay. Okay, he has some hit or miss, but he's okay. Unfortunately. Now, what would I rate this one? So me and Ethan are keeping track of all video game movies that we've watched so far. We still have yet to see the Monster Hunter movie from Sony, but in terms of Detective Pikachu and Sonic movie was one of my favorites. Although that's honestly expected after what happened with that movie's development.
Mine too, unfortunately, just because how well adapted to.
Detective Pikachu, Ethan liked, but I kind of didn't, as someone who played the game.
Right.
But I think that this movie is better than Detective Pikachu, in my opinion.
In my opinion, Mortal Kombat seemed to hold up just fine, but I can't say it's the best. But between Godzilla vs. Kong movie, I would say Godzilla vs. Kong might have did a bit better on the plot because it has good explanation from the previous movies.
I would agree on that unfortunately. So for rating, I give it a 7.3.
Mine's around same score, 7.5.
Alright. So, do we think it will? The other movies will be good? We'll have to wait and see. Now, here's a key thing for anybody who watches this movie. For those who don't know, the original Mortal Kombat movie took place during a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it takes place before said tournament.
So, which means this could be tied into another certain movie in the next one, of course. So listen, they are gonna make another movies, but they're already in the contract to plan to do it.
So if this movie is successful, so
financially, not reputation-wise.
Yeah, because let's be honest.
Because reputation sometimes could not matter to most of the movie makers.
Yeah. although we do think that is still very important.
Tell that to the movie developers.
Yeah, you mean the filmmakers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. That aside, though, this depends on how far before the tournament. If we're talking like 4 movies away,
maybe 3 more of the way. Right after the first one. Well, if it is a first one.
guys, if you at least better make it worth the wait. That's all that matters to me, really. But still, really, if it's like gonna happen in the second movie, okay, that's fair. That is totally fair.
Yeah, but there's a one certain one that's special. That's someone special, unique character that people are wanting. Might be in the next film. We don't know yet.
He was teased.
Let's say it's teased.
But we can't tell you who.
Nah, I'm good.
But yeah. Alright, and that's our opinion on the Mortal Kombat movie.
Mm-hmm.
So after all 3 movies that HBO Max has released over the spring, Tom and Jerry, in my personal opinion, was one of the good movies. It's not the best, I'm not gonna lie, but it's still one of the best in my personal opinion. Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh. Word for the action, it would have been flies right next to Mortal Kombat.
Indeed. And Mortal Kombat, not the best video game movie me and Ethan have seen, but it's not the worst either.
Yeah, so it's kind of like my opinion with XenoSaga Episode 2.
Pretty much. So we'll see how the future goes for this one.
Oh, yeah, but I do like most of the characters' designs, though. I give them that.
Indeed.
Surprisingly, because even if I'm a semi-newbie of this series.
Indeed.
Of course, maybe the most of the fans are going to disagree with me, though.
For sure.
But that's my opinion, not yours.
Indeed.
That's what I mean by that.
Alright, and last but not least, time to talk about what we're going to be doing for the next 2 months, or possibly 3 for the channel. So this first month, I like to proudly announce Maniac Madness Month. Maniac Madness May. All month long, and I've been recording non-stop since the beginning of April. All month, we will have videos going live for you guys, pre-recorded in advance for all of you to enjoy. Mostly gameplay, but some anime and movies. Some maybe related to anime, maybe, or maybe even certain shop makers that everybody's been waiting for us to update.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just some chatting videos. So yeah, that's what our plan is for May. If we record any videos outside of those, we'll let you guys know, of course, on Twitter. But for the time being, that is the plan for May. Now, as for news, as we talked about earlier, me and Ethan will be covering news, but here's how we're gonna do it. At the end of each week, me and Ethan will recap all the news that we got for our 3 sectors that we usually focus on for the Media Maniacs. That's games, movies, and TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go over our plan of action and talk about what we'll be covering specifically in full coverage for those shows. Let me just see where it is. No. Here we go.
I know, I got it.
Okay. So, in terms of video game coverage, nothing's gonna change with that. That we'll still do live streams when we can for live reactions and stuff. And the news coverage includes Nintendo Directs, State of Plays, Inside Xbox, and some breaking news. Like, for example, if a company that got blocked.
Yeah.
For example, Bethesda recently. That was big news.
Yes.
What we will not cover, and I repeat, we will not cover is rumors
Yeah.
or leaks. Why don't you tell them why, bud?
Because it gets spread up throughout the internet.
And on top of that, what if it's fake?
Yup.
I'm not going to be part of that. So, no clickbait from us. You promise. Only true blue news. We might talk about Twitter about the rumors and stuff, but outside of that...
Because I will not actually work with...
the videos.
So, yeah.
But outside of that, don't expect me and Ethan to go into a video unless we believe the rumor fully. But that's never likely going to happen.
Yeah.
Alright, Ethan, why don't you talk about your series coverage?
Well, I'll be covering the film series, since I know the series top to hand. Gears of War series for the Microsoft, of course. And Tales of series. And Ratchet and Clank series. And Xeno series. Like Xenoblade, for example.
Indeed. Now, movie-wise.
Wonder Brothers. Godzilla. DC Universe. And Mortal Kombat.
So Ethan will talk about any news related to those movies and specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Now for DreamWorks.
Kung Fu Panda and Minions.
Yes, Ethan's gonna be covering the Minions movies even though he hates them.
Right.
Alright, and that's it for that? Okay, now for me, I will be covering for VidCon and Disney all major movies. Now for movie reviews for both of us, we just talked about briefly our actions, and our feelings and thoughts about the movie. So I think that's what we're going to be doing going forward.
Right.
Okay, now, for anime, this is Ethan's main section. So why don't you discuss what you'll be talking about for anime?
Well, you'll be covering the big four. That'll be Dragon Quest, Adventures of Dairy, then also Brota and Naruto, My Hero Academia, One Piece, and the other newest anime it just came out with from the manga, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Indeed. And even we first did the big four, those weren't the big four. Well, a couple more. Where even I'm referring to One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball, and My Hero Academia. Those are the big four. Now for anime movies, in this particular section, why don't you discuss?
Underrated movies only, and also the big movies and the main movies, like, for example, Demon Slayer.
Yes, Demon Slayer will be covered in our main movie section when we talk about those. Ethan wants to give some love to some of the underrated movies because they don't get as much as love.
Right.
Now, for merch, there's a lot of merch that comes out for all these animes, I'm not gonna lie.
It's gonna be crazy, though.
But Ethan has chosen these series in particular for any big merch, so keep an eye out for these series videos.
Yup, that'll be My Hero Academia, Sword Art Online, Tokyo Ghoul, or Demon Slayer, or it depends, of course, the other ones, too.
Indeed. And in particular, why don't you talk about what merch you'll be covering?
Like the statues, the civic statues, and also DVDs for the civic seasons, and plushies.
Of course. Who doesn't love a good plushie? I mean, I have a couple myself, so I wouldn't mind those.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are what specifics. If there's anything else like big merch-wise, then Ethan will cover it as well. But other than that, don't expect it. Mainly, probably what you're going to see from Ethan is about DVD season or movie releases for anime from him. Statues, I'll give Ethan a list to follow so he can keep an eye on that. Because statues, they get mixed in with the games all too often, so it's going to be a little hard for Ethan.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. So that's what he's covering. For cartoons, you can expect me to cover as much as I can. Mainly, I'll probably be focused on Nick, PBS Kids, Disney, and Warner Brothers. But I'll try to cover any other ones I can along the way, including all streaming services.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that is our action plan. So here's what's going to happen. When we cover news for the week, Ethan and I will be bookmarking any tweets that we think are important. Then at the end of that week, Ethan and I, if we're together, will record the news together under news flash for the week, talk about all the news that happened in the week. And then that will be it. So our news week will consist from Sunday to Saturday.
Yeah.
So anything that happens in that period for the week will pretty much be it. Anything that happens prior to the week will only be covered in that week's news. So if anything happens the day afterwards, then we won't be able to cover it in that week's.
Oh yeah.
So that's how that's gonna go. Now, if we get breaking news, Ethan and me will make a small and very quick video about it if we're not near our computers or our laptops when that news happens.
Right.
So don't expect the best quality. But other than that, Ethan and I will keep you up to date on the latest news for movies, video games, and anime as best as we can, and it will happen each week as best as we can too. Don't expect us to be 100% perfect. If we miss something, let us know so we can possibly cover it in next week's news.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is our strategy plan for that. The news coverage will start probably late May, just to be safe, because I got some other stuff going on, and I might need to do a couple more mass recordings if I can't get everything done this week. So don't expect it until possibly late May. We want to give some time to breathe.
Right.
But yeah, so that is my Ethan's plan of action. Hopefully we'll be able to deliver the news the best we can. And Ethan is definitely looking forward to finally getting back into anime again. XenoSaga took him a while, so he actually told me it's great to be back in anime.
Yeah, let's just say though that from the pandemic last year, kind of hold me back sometimes.
But Ethan's finally glad to be back, diving back into it.
That's because, lack of the times, what happened. We don't know about how the pandemic started and all that. That's how that kind of hold me up, just because what's the bother?
Yep. But now the anime is kind of getting back flowing. Ethan thought it would be a nice time to dive back in. Of course, he was going to dive back in February, but XenoSaga kind of stopped him on that. So, not his fault.
Yeah, not only that, RPGs do take a lot of your time.
Unfortunately. But Ethan's going to try to catch back up. In fact, speaking of which, Ethan's going to see the Demon Slayer movie tomorrow. Today, as of this video's recording.
Well, I already have opinion on that movie already though, before the second time.
Exactly. But we're saving that for, get ready for this, part 2!
Or it's a possible chance there might be a little bit of collab video somehow, but we'll see.
We'll see. But either way, so yeah. So as for our plan in terms of new game coverage, we should probably talk about that since there are some games coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So, in May, I will have video game footage for the latest games that have come out. So that includes the Atlia bundle that just launched on Switch and PlayStation, and PC. New Pokemon Snap, which will come out by this video's recording.
Mm-hmm.
NBL The Show, which is all ready to go live today. On May 1st, I should say. But today, as you guys are watching this on May 1st, so it should be live by this point. And then all the rest of the month is pretty much going to be a break month for me and Ethan because there's nothing really major in May for us.
Right.
But in June, we got a couple. Mm-hmm. So in June, Ethan will be doing, if he's not already, and we'll talk about this later, already down in New Jersey, he will be covering...
I will be covering,
the Ratchet and Clank game.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank game in June, which is one of Ethan's most highly anticipated games.
Oh yeah.
He will either be doing a recording of it or a live stream. He hasn't decided yet, and that, like I said, that depends on something else. I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And later that month, I will also be covering. I don't know. A certain golf game, Mario Golf Super Rush.
Oh yeah.
I am so excited to play this Mario Golf game. It's been a while since we played one, so I'm very excited. Still bummed that there's no strikers though. But oh well, patience is a virtue, right?
Yep.
Alright. And then in July, well, we got a couple. Now, as you guys know, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles just recently got announced.
But to remind you, it's a prequel before the main series.
Indeed. Now, you're probably wondering, wait, isn't even an Ace Attorney a fan?
I am.
But why aren't you buying the game then?
Well, I already played them all.
Yeah.
And I beat them all.
Well, not the Ace Attorney Chronicles, the previous ones.
We're talking the main installments, not the spin-offs.
So, Ethan will be getting the Ace Attorney, but not at launch, unfortunately. There's something else that has our attention that month.
Uh-huh.
And that would be Samurai Warriors 5. Oh, that game looks great.
Of course.
And I've actually thrown some more information about the game and the gameplay. Apparently, there's going to be some different changes from the previous games.
I see.
And as part of that, I'm going to be showing Samurai Warriors 4 and playing it for the first time ever to see what this gameplay is like, so me and Ethan know going forward what to expect. Because outside of the Nintendo Warriors games and the One Piece ones, we kind of suck at them.
Yep.
And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. And of course, we are working on some walkthroughs. So, we're going to try one more time this weekend to record Mario Strikers Charge for Ethan. All you guys, hopefully by the time this video's up, Ethan has recorded it. It won't be going live the day of. I'll save it for a later day.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you guys have any comments, wish Ethan luck.
Yeah.
Because we've tried 2 times already.
And it gives me a good struggle. I mean, like I say, if it was me doing it without a recording, I would have no problems with it.
But with the recording, the pressure is immense.
I was really good back then when it first came out. But this time around, I knew I wasn't going to do well as I did before. I knew it from the beginning.
Unfortunately. So, again, I don't like saying this, but please do not bash Ethan on his gameplay for this one. The game's really hard, man. Man, you try beating it.
Well, he asked me to do it, so I do it, I guess.
Exactly, and I asked Ethan to do it for the sake of recording it with a little bit better footage quality. So, yeah. But I will say that Ethan is trying his hardest at this one. He really is. So, please cut Ethan a little bit of slack.
I was doing
the third one, the Strikers Cup. Woohoo!
Yeah, something that tells me, though, that I knew I wasn't going to be as good as I used to. I knew it from the beginning.
Yep. Another one I'd like to finally announce. So you guys voted on a poll on Twitter I posted that you guys wanted to see Punch-Out.
Mm-hmm.
Punch-Out Wii specifics. Well, Ethan, tell them.
Actually, I have been working on it while we're in break.
So we will be recording Punch-Out Wii sometime in the near future for y'all. Just so you know, we will be covering all the way through the end of the game. We won't be doing the World Circuit for Ethan's sake, because the World Circuit is going to be 10 times harder, unless you think he can take it.
Yeah.
But it will just be from the beginning to the end of the game up until Mac is World Champion.
Yes.
Let me see. Another one that's I hinted that this one was going to be a monster of a project. So why don't you tell them, buddy, what project you were working on?
Well, there's one I've been working on, but that's not the main focus of the project I was gonna do. But there is this one certain game that will probably be out some point, but will be this.
Godzilla Saves the Earth.
That's actually what you call. This is not originally in the project, so you know.
Yes, but it's one of Ethan's games that he's been dying to show people. These games are not really very underrated, and I haven't seen too much gameplay for it.
So I'll be honest with you, that's one of those games that it is, but it's actually not the main focus of the project.
Indeed. That project Ethan's working on will have to be a little bit later, but it may or may not be related to that game. May or may not. I didn't tell you definitively, so I could be throwing you off track. But those are just some of the projects we have in the works. Works for the time being. We have others, but those are some of the main ones I wanted to get out of the way. So look forward to Punch Out Wii, hopefully Mario Strikers Charge, and Godzilla Saves the Earth.
Or another monster game.
Indeed. So, yeah. Alright, that is all for this part 1 of this update. Part 2 will include our plans for the rest of the summer, and some other stuff as well.
Yep.
So, and Ethan's opinion about the Demon Slayer movie.
Yes, we'll be in part 2 though.
Indeed. So, anything to say before we close this update, bud?
Well, all I gotta say is, welcome back to return to the channel.
Yep. We're so glad to finally be back on YouTube. Me and Ethan needed this break to recharge our batteries, really. And I'm glad I took it.
Yeah.
So, look forward to it. Oh, and by the way, my vlog will be coming up very soon. I probably won't get it out right away, but it is coming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look forward to that, and that's really all for now. So, until later, this is yours truly, Music Clues.
Ethan N, signing out.
And you all have a nice
gaming day.